If things weren't already going bad for the Memphis Showboats, they just got worse. It has been officially made that Ken Whisenhunt has officially resigned as head coach of the Memphis Showboats. And quite frankly, I know a lot of people are going to start. It's probably already on social media. Let me just put it that way that, oh, there's something wrong with the league. There's something wrong with the league. And in reality, that's not the case here. And I quite frankly, I don't think it's been the case with anything that's happened at all at this point, with coaching staffs leaving. Obviously, with Greg Williams going early to Tennessee State with Reggie Barlow. I think a lot of those things are just, they're in place. It has nothing to do with the league themselves or anything going on in the league. And again, keeping it positive here on the channel. So let's go ahead. Let's run down the official statement from the UFL, from their website, and then I'll talk a little bit more about this situation regarding not only the Memphis Showboats being 0-3 going into week 4, potentially being 0-4 after this upcoming week, and my thoughts on that. And then we'll talk about why I think we may see this happen again here shortly. We'll talk about this. So, Arlington, Texas, April 16th, 2025. Ken Whisenhunt announced today that he is stepping down as head coach of the Memphis Showboats. UFL President and CEO Russ Brandon and UFL Executive Vice President of Football Operations Daryl Johnston have named offensive line coach Jim Turner, who served as the team's interim head coach earlier this season in Week 1, as interim head coach for the remainder of the 2025 UFL season. The statement from Ken Whisenhunt states, "The time has come for me to step away from the game and take a break from football. I am so grateful for my time with the players and wish them the best." And then, of course, we go on to the official statement from the UFL President and CEO Russ Brandon and UFL Executive Vice President of Football Operations Daryl Johnston. We are grateful for Ken's contributions to the UFL as head coach of the Memphis Showboats. His passion for the game resonates not only with his players, but the entire league. Ken has been a true professional, and our league is better because of the time he spent with the UFL. We are fortunate to have Jim Turner available to immediately take up the head coaching duties for the rest of the season. Whisenhunt became head coach of the Showboats in September 2024. Prior to that, he served for nearly 30 years as a football coach at various levels in the NFL and NCAA, including a stint as head coach of the Arizona Cardinals in 2007 to 2012, where he won 2 NFC West Division championships, 2008 and 2009, and a berth in Super Bowl following the 2008 season. The head coach of the Tennessee Titans, or he was the head coach of the Tennessee Titans for 2 seasons in 2014 to 2015. He helped lead the Pittsburgh Steelers to victory in their Super Bowl win as offensive coordinator. Turner, who has coached for nearly 30 years at the professional and collegiate levels, has served as the offensive line coach for the Showboats for the past 2 seasons. Turner. He previously was the offensive line coach for the New Orleans Breakers of the USFL from 2022 to 2023 after stints with the Cincinnati Bengals in 2019 to 2020. And the Miami Dolphins from 2012 to 2013 of the NFL. A 4-year letterman at Boston College and an officer in the United States Marine Corps for 4 years, 1990 to 94. Turner coached the offensive line at Texas A&M from 2008 to 11 and from 2016 to 17, as well as coaching stops at Boston College 2007, Delaware 2005 to 2006, Temple 2003 to 2004, Harvard 2000 to 2002, Louisiana Tech 99, and Northeastern 94 to 99. The Showboats will play the Michigan Panthers on Friday, April 18th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time as part of Fox's UFL Friday. So, okay, let's talk about this now. So that wraps up their official statement on this. And quite frankly, we're not going to assume anything, but we know that he took a leave of absence right before the first week and then came back for the second week. Now, regardless of what that was, we don't know. He said he took care of whatever it was and was ready to go. It does feel like maybe there could be health reasons, there could be family reasons, whatever the case may be. I do not think this is a direct situation regarding the league, regarding anything, because I have heard people post on my page here in the comment field talking about when coaches are leaving that they're not getting paid. That is completely false narrative. I don't know where anyone is getting that information from, but it's completely false. And I personally would know that when I know at least one person that coaches in the UFL for the Arlington Renegades on a personal level and have talked to them. And again, nothing like that is even happening. So we can take that completely out of the picture and leave those comments to yourself. You're barking up the wrong tree in this instance. I think this is strictly on the fact that he took on a job that may have been a little more than what he wanted to do at this point of his life, and he is stepping down. Now, as for the Memphis Showboats and having Jim Turner return as their head coach, I do think this could spiral the team even worse than what has been happening. We saw in week 1 that essentially they got absolutely blew out in their game they played, which to me led to the factor that potentially this was not a great head coaching fit. Now Jim Turner is back into that role. I don't know if maybe that this is a full-time thing for the remaining time that the Showboats are playing. Who knows if they could turn their season around and get into the playoffs. It is a very big possibility, but as time goes on, and I was going to talk about that tomorrow in my pick'ems and preview video, but Memphis and San Antonio are two teams that it's a make or break in the next week or two. If both teams or one of the teams loses this upcoming weekend and then the following weekend, that could cause a quite catastrophic event for both teams that they can't come back and essentially win in how this league is built. And we can see how the separation of the divisions are with the XFL conference and the USFL conference. But again, the two worst teams are basically on each conference. Plus you have Houston, which who knows what they're going to be doing. They're 1-2 currently, but that doesn't favor well for the Memphis Showboats in the USFL division. So time will tell. We'll keep an eye on that situation. But the other part to that, speaking of the San Antonio Brahmas, is when I said earlier we could see something similar to this happen. I hope not. But the big part to this is we have seen, it goes without, everyone knows this, there's something going on with Wade Phillips, and it's sad to hear. I hope he's feeling better. We know in week 1, he was up in the booth coaching. Week 2, he was in the sidelines, but not feeling good from what we read. And then this past week, for week 3, he was in the locker room the entire game and was not coaching. So there is some concerns there. I would lead to believe. I hope it was just an illness, that he is fine. As we know, Wade Phillips is 80 years old, and he's a tough steak when it comes to just being a human. He is the kindest person. I've got to talk to him many times during post-game interviews. I've talked to him outside of that. He is the kindest person in the world, and I hope the best. I hope he recovers from whatever illness he was dealing with. But again, this could be a bad year for the UFL when it comes to coaching, and we could potentially see the same thing. I mean, San Antonio just lost their offensive coordinator, AJ Smith. Now, of course, we don't know anything about that scenario. That could have something to do with the league. Who knows? But just want to kind of let everyone know at this point of the breaking news, and then we'll be back later today for the who and where you can watch week 4 of the UFL as it kicks off in just basically over 48 hours away. We'll see you on the flip side. Have a great one, everyone.